Welcome everyone, this is Polly Needles and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO and here at LOTRO Players. And this week we have with us Sanswinda!
Hello.
And Krister!
Hello.
Hello everyone! It looks like that we have had another Borer update this week, update 37 Borer beta number 2. And despite what he said last week, some things that I thought were going to be another week later have come to this Borer build, because this includes, in addition to some adjustments to the things that appeared in the first one, Lindleby housing and river hobbits.
Yay!
River hobbits.
Yes. Let us start with the discussion of what's on top of there. Now, concerning the stat crunch, they did make a note in there that the items that related to the main stat changes, things that thus the numbers going down is still in there. The balancing of the game level to be smoother is still in there. Monster damage going up a little bit and healing going up a little bit is in there. But the thing about changing the main stats and how they operate, that's getting the axe. And they'll be revisiting that later. Apparently they had too many complaints. And the level...
It looks like complaints and probably lack of proper itemization support in the short term.
Yeah, that was the other reason, of course, is itemization, because bringing it... Well, there probably would have been a lot of complaints about no itemization in there.
Right, because they to make it really work, they'd have to change all of the items that you would pick.
Right.
That's
right.
hysterical. Wasn't that like the initial problem when the Bjornings came out anyways, was that the gear just wasn't... You couldn't find much gear for them, and the gear you could find just didn't fit very well with their main stats.
Right.
Yeah.
Didn't we have a problem like that? And I seem to recall there was something with the Bjornings in the beginning.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. And in fact, what they did is they eventually added to several quests special Bjorning rewards. And
then they made the Bjornings heavy armor.
Yeah, there was like it was like their equipment itself wasn't really tailored to their attributes, I think is what it was.
Well, yeah,
wasn't they agility? It was when because they moved from agility to strength. Wasn't that the...
No, they were might, but they were wearing medium armor, and the medium armor stats were agility.
That's what it was. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sans. Yeah, that's what it was.
Now, I'm wondering if there might have been if there had been some old days Warden armor. Let's see, because when the Wardens first came out, I think they were medium armor but might based. We're really talking about old days.
Now that you say that, I seem to remember something about that too. Maybe it was just two different developers who weren't talking to each other, working on the same project.
Oh, when has that ever happened in software? Yes.
I'm sure that never happened.
Other changes that we have here. Did another pass to tweak the gearing ratios, and figured stats should now come out much closer to where they were prior to the stat crunch. One change that remains is that the figured stats gained from Vitality and Fate have both been reduced for all classes, as these stats now operate at a higher ratio compared to other main stats, and they were over-contributing to the figured characteristics. This should generally keep their overall contribution similar to what it was. And in PvMP, concerning stat changes, free players now gain plus 50% morale from having full Audacity equipment worn. This is because the stat crunch lowers player damage more than it lowers monster player damage. So this 50% morale bonus keeps the ratio of monster player damage to free morale where it was pre-crunch. And monster player morale and healing values have been adjusted as part of the stat squish. So that's stat squish changes since the last bull roar. As for the Bjorning, now they had the red and yellow line. Bjorning was suitable for testing on the beta. The blue line is still not available on testing on that front. And now let's go into Lindleby housing. For what seems like ages, the speculations on what lies behind the closed gates south of Lindleby has been wild. Many of those speculations has been on the mark. Since its creation, we have always planned to introduce a neighborhood beyond the gate, and we're just waiting for the right time to do it. And that time is now. And each Lindleby homestead neighborhood will include 4 base premium meals, or smiles, always get that one confused, and 6 deluxe premium smiles, 1 stately base premium smile, 1 stately deluxe premium smile, and 1 premium kinship smile. This valley will also be supported by a suite of town services and a handful of social spaces to gather as a community, as the Hoblethan love to do. Decorative fencing debuts alongside this neighborhood, allowing you to pick and choose what you want your property bounds to look like. This feature joins ambient environment and music hooks to round out the yards for your home. I don't know if anyone had an opportunity to check out the Lindleby housing.
No, although I did deal with housing this weekend. Mainly had to pay the arrears on the Kin house, so we didn't lose it.
Okay.
I figured you were going to be primed to buy up a lot of real estate with this new area. Have you acquired any housage yet?
I updated Bull Roar, and then while it was updating, remembered what I was supposed to be doing and started doing that. And
you're still at work.
I was not actually at work, but I was supposed to be working on something.
Oh, okay, yes.
Yeah, school. So I was doing my work, and then I got distracted and didn't get into Bull Roar. But it sounds really cool from what I've seen from the preview.
All right.
Like in videos.
Yes. Now I did go into Bull Roar and went in and bought a house in the neighborhood. I bought the base premium smiles, which is the smallest of them all, because I figure if I'm going to buy one, it'll be the small one, because I don't want a Hobbit house that's too large, and I figured that would probably be more likely the size in which I'll feel comfortable.
But then you just turn it into a Hobbit hotel. Come on.
A Hobbit hotel.
Pine Leaf's Hobbit Holdfast. Pine Leaf's Time Shift.
Looks like it'll have many beds and many breakfasts. Yeah. No, I got those smalls and looked through there. I think what I'm going to really need to do, though, is get it decorated, because undecorated, a house just looks so huge.
Yeah, just out of curiosity, too, fine with the decorative fencing, was that something that was available to you right away, or is that something you have to acquire in some manner before you can deploy it?
Oh, I didn't play with the fencing any.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds cool to me, but kind of curious.
It sounded like you should just be able to go buy the fences from the person who sells decorations in the neighborhood. And
like
try it, obviously.
That if the floor is already lava. What if the fence could be lava too?
I'm not too sure they'll allow that. Anyway, what got me distracted was that I decided was, of course, the next item on the list. And in fact, the character that bought the house was a river hobbit. And I thought, well, how about if I go out to Lindleby, proper in there, and find out how they treat me compared to non-river hobbits. And what I found out is they're saying, well, yes, you look like you come from these parts, but you've been away for so long, you'll still have to earn our trust.
Oh, I would have paid real money for them to just say to you, you're not welcome here, Devoniad.
This is these are yeah, these are river hops. So Lindleby, I believe the ones who call you Devoniad are the Stores down a bit to the south, down in Dunland and in Enidwaith.
Will the river hobbits have like ferry boats and stuff, like the old steamships where you could go like gamble and because that would be pretty cool.
I don't think so. When you are a secretive group of people,
I guess you don't do advertising. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, advertising does sound to be counterproductive.
Do not look at us. We do not live here.
I mean, it seems to have worked out fine for Estaldine. That aside, though, maybe what they need are like some reed canoe type things that can be hidden easily, and like a whole host of secret stations that can help them travel all over by river.
Now, in terms of their looks, I haven't seen the looks of the river hobbits. Do they look distinctly different from hobbits, or is it just the same?
Oh boy, that one.
Maybe a little more variety in
that's
skin
another
color
kind
and hair color and eye color,
let's,
maybe.
Let's get to that. Let me go. Are any other questions about the Lindleby housing before I go to the river hobbits?
About what?
Are there any questions about Lindleby housing before I go to the river hobbits? I guess.
Oh, I thought that was just me. I think did we lose Pineleaf?
Yeah, and I can see your icon lighting up like you're talking, Pineleaf, but I can't actually hear you.
All right, now.
Now it's time to talk about it behind his back. So, you know what I don't like about Pineleaf?
I'm pretty sure he can still hear us.
Oh, crap.
All right, can you hear me now?
He can still hear us, but we can't hear him.
All right, so we got this trouble again.
Hey, we can hear you now.
There we go.
Okay.
There we go.
All right, let's try this again. All right. I'm sure Sans will have fun editing this.
That was perfect. You guys, I think I got it working.
Okay, yeah, that's it.
Basically.
All right, does anyone have...
Yeah, let's try this again.
Yeah, I thought for a second there, the way that he went out, I thought I lost my internet for a second. So I wonder if he had a.
Well, I thought maybe my dog had unplugged my headphones, but that does not appear to have happened.
All right. Now, can you hear me?
Yes,
There
yes.
we go.
All right. Okay, this is going to be a little bit of a problem.
Not anymore.
We can hear you every other time now, Pineleaf, so that's an improvement. But
all right. Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
So that time you triggered 2 times in a row, which was better.
All right, so yeah, there's a bit of a problem here. Now, it's working fine on my end. In fact, when we recorded DDO players, we used my recording of it because it had everything.
I'd be happy to use your recording of it.
Okay, just so you know there. All right, so let's do it. All right, let's see if I stay in long enough for us to for me to get through this. All right, now, does anyone have any other questions about housing before we go to river hobbits?
No, I don't.
All right, then let's look at river hobbits.
With their shifty eyes and their hairy feet.
Well, a new starting.
So my question was, do they look different? I haven't seen the river hobbits yet.
Oh,
so do they look distinctly different from the hobbits, or Do you have more options with how they look or not?
Let us just say they look quite different.
Oh, cool. Okay.
All right. Now, they're not finished with everything on it. That's something to note. For example, the animations, they didn't have the proper new animations in there yet. So the animations they had in there were the default human animations.
Oh, did they look ridiculous? Please tell me they did, because that would have been awesome.
There were a lot of complaints about them looking ridiculous. There were some people saying that they looked more like teenage humans than like hobbits.
That's totally awesome. Maybe you could get like some goths, some like goth teenagers in LOTRO. Well, I guess you already have.
Yeah, and some of their hairstyles look like they belong to teenagers, humans. Now, the last of their kind remaining east of the Misty Mountains, river hobbits are a lithe and sylvan folk, steeped in wood lore and attuned to the mountains where they remain hidden. Dwelling among the dells of the Misty Mountains, the river hobbits of Mist Hollow are a rustic folk, quick-tongued and nimble-fingered. Known mainly in old tales and songs, they seldom venture outside of their secret vales. When creating a new river hobbit, you may select any class to play except Bjorning.
Oh, that would have been brilliant. A Bjorning river hobbit? Oh my goodness.
Thus,
See, I'm not the only one, Pine Leaf.
okay.
See, and they don't turn into bears. They turn into badgers. Or, oh my goodness. Yeah. No, not badgers. I can't believe it. I think I'm having a senior moment. The things that shoot trees down and build dams.
Beavers?
Beavers.
Thank you. Imagine a war beaver. A war beaver. Oh my god. Because you wouldn't have a trample. That would have a slap. It wouldn't trample people. It'd slap them with their tail. Oh my goodness. I've just come up with a whole new line of siege weaponry too.
Well, okay, so considering everything that Radagast was apparently up to, and the ways that his knowledge has been used horrendously with 8-legged things, why not?
I think it should happen. And they should be flying mounts too.
It would be so much better.
They fly by flapping their big tails really, really hard.
Well,
I don't know that they would fly necessarily, unless they were birds, but
I do not think that's going to happen.
We can dream.
Yes.
they made Spider-Man happen. They should come up with some way to make something nice happen.
If they can do that, we deserve flying war beavers.
There's much atoning that needs to happen for the horrors of that.
Yes. And what I did for my testing of the River Hobbit was to do a race change of my Runekeeper into a River Hobbit.
Was your Runekeeper a hobbit before?
Of course not. Regular hobbits can't be Runekeepers.
Aha, okay. That's cool. That almost sounds like a movie. And then one day, Pine Leaf woke up to find, I'm a river hobbit.
Yes. Now, the river hobbits, one of the main things is that their proportions are a bit different than regular hobbits because the Shire hobbits tend to be a little bit on the plump side, shall we say? And the river hobbits, they don't have that prosperous a neighborhood, so yes, they tend to be more lithe than the regular hobbits are, and slightly taller too. And river hobbits start their journey before the shadow in the town of Mossword. Access to quests and deeds in Swanfleet, as well as before the Shadow prologues, Book 1, Book 2, and Book 3, and the afterword will be included with any River Hobbit bundles for those who do not already own the expansion Before the Shadow. So they start out in Mossword, and the idea here is somehow they've been journeying around and they found themselves in Mossword. And one of the ideas of the Mossword opening that they had was for a way to introduce races like the River Hobbit so that they could come in, get into this part of the world as an outsider as opposed to someone who's from the local areas. Though there are some people who did not like that idea, and they wanted a River Hobbit only opening for them. But I think they're trying to treat the River Hobbits as someone who has left their people and then gone out exploring all over the place. And thus, they don't exactly have a home at the moment. All right, and that's the River Hobbit. I guess no one had a chance to try those based on what I heard before.
No, but now that we've been talking about it, I think it would be fun to see how long it would take for people to realize. Maybe I should do a race swap of my captain to a River Hobbit. That would be pretty awesome, pretty dramatic. You've changed.
Yes. See, that means that Meriadoc Brandybuck must be a River Hobbit, right? He's a captain, right?
That makes sense now.
Yeah, it makes sense. And he likes boats. Right, and that is for the River Hobbits, unless somebody has any questions on them. Note that things like racial traits and icons and stuff like that, were still works in progress. This was just the first look at them. There is going to be another Bulwark build next week, so we hope that they are further along in their progress for the River Hobbits then. Next, we have... Let's see, we have the River Hobbits. We have... Regain that. So we had the River Hobbits, yes, and also all in the release notes, classes and skills. Known issue, auto attacks are unintentionally fast at the moment, so they are going to be slowed down. So if you're excited over the auto attacks you're getting in the Bulwark build, note they are going to be throttling them down. Also for the burglar, crafted consumable items such as marbles and caltrops can now be used while moving. I think the burglars are going to be happy about that one. For the Lore Master, Air Lore now lasts 20 seconds and has a 90-second cooldown, but is much more likely to reduce and reflect damage. Wisdom of the Council's Reflect now has a 50% chance to trigger on all damage types and lasts 10 seconds. And I forgot that Wisdom of the Council had a Reflect. And its cooldown is reduced down to 3 minutes. And pet damage has been increased across the board, so pets should now deal a significant amount of damage through level 140. As for quests and deeds and adventure areas, Gwynna's location in Tal Methedras has been adjusted so he isn't trying to spawn inside of a boulder.
But isn't that everybody's goal in life?
Fix the placement of a hotspot for Bingo Week 16, a hospitable home. And unearth a loose rock quest item from where it was buried in a cliff in the Legacy of Durin chapter 4.3, Think Like a Goblin. As for housing and decorations, Samwise Gamgee's loyal attendant could previously give you some fish that, due to the lack of recipes, would need to be eaten raw, completely against the advice that he provides. So this has been remedied.
I've prepared your blowfish, sir.
Oh my goodness gracious, not blowfish. As for items and rewards, Steel Boots of the Mighty Warrior has had its item level increased to 86. Dwarf Maid Treasure will now no longer drop from chests, backpacks, or corpses within King's Gondor. I was wondering why they were dropping that, yes. The small and medium essence and tracery carry-alls can now hold up to 400 of any given essence, tracery, or enhancement rune. And a lot of people are cheering for that one.
Agreed.
And large essence and tracery carry-alls can now hold up to 1,000 of any given essence, tracery, or enhancement rune. And I think this was mainly because of the enhancement runes, because it was
collecting insane amounts of them. You run out of inventory space. Yes. My carry-alls. I'll just put them in my carry-alls. No, I won't. They're full.
Yes.
Wait, what am I going to do? This is like having tribbles.
Tribbles. Yes. And on the landscape, players will no longer be able to fall through the wall or floor of the last homely house while in instance messages from Lorien. Miscellaneous floating objects have been grounded in King's Gondor. And players should no longer fall through the floor when exiting the Splintered Shield in Minas Tirith Midsummer.
Won't it depend on how much they've had to drink?
And as for miscellaneous, updated the strength of morale to restore a value based on your current level. And Stoop 4 Stone, Headbutt, and Uppercut had each been updated to deal more damage, but now have 3-minute cooldowns. In other words, they're now useful, but
that's still better than like 30-minute cooldowns on the Hobbit Stealth, which is arguably less useful.
Well, you do have a point there. And considering that I rarely use any of those 3 skills, Stoop or Stone, Headbutt, or Uppercut, more than once every 3 minutes, I guess that's fair enough. And that's it for what we have in the beta number 2 for update 37. And now comes what's coming up next, or I should say this coming Wednesday. On Wednesday, August 2nd at 12 a.m., that is midnight, until 7 p.m. server time, the game worlds will be down so that they will be able to update the store and implement a new patch. But mainly, all this time is because of the store update that they're going to be doing, because they had to bring down everything, rip out a number of things, put in all this new stuff all over the place, not only within the client, but also within the infrastructure of the system. So therefore, we will have a 19-hour downtime on Wednesday. That means if you live on the Pacific Coast, that would be 9 p.m. on Tuesday where that downtime starts. So I do not suggest that if you are someone who goes late or someone who lives on the west coast of the U.S., I do not suggest that you plan any Tuesday night raids this coming week.
Now I want to.
That's what I said when he told me that earlier, too. Like 9 o'clock's not that late.
I can't do it then. I want to do it then. Fine. I guess I'll just play something else
Yes.
or watch TV.
Now, I do not know what their plans are relating to Bulwark. If the fact that all of this is down means that there's no way that Bulwark is going to come up until late on Wednesday, that sounds like the most likely situation in there. Because even though Bulwark is separate from everything else, since their website's going to be down, they can't announce that Bulwark is up. And they can't post patch notes and all of that stuff. So I'm going to guess that Bulwark, if there's going to be a build next week, is going to be late on Wednesday or perhaps on Thursday. But we shall see. I guess it's possible that they might be able to get it up on Tuesday, but with a patch coming in on Wednesday, plus all that downtime that they have for the store stuff, I'm not going to put any bets on that happening. Thus, extended downtime, midnight Wednesday until 7 p.m. on Wednesday. And that means, yes, if you live in Europe, it's going to be down all day on Wednesday. So I hope you don't have any LOTRO plans on Wednesday if you are in Europe. Actually, if you're living anywhere, having important ones that are before 7 o'clock. It sounds like with all the stuff they're doing, who knows, they may have to add extra time.
Well, you've heard the rumor that LOTRO's run on 350 daisy-chained Atari 2600s, right? So, I mean, it takes literally just takes a long time to turn all of them on and off. So.
All right. Oh, and one more thing. If you're planning on, maybe I'll just play DDO instead, which is Standing Stone's other game, no such luck. They're going through the same update and the same process and the same downtime. So that's going to be down also. Now, since the website's going to be down, since that's part of the entire infrastructure that has to be down in order for them to do this, if you want updates on how they're doing, you'll need to check on either Facebook, Twitter, or Threads. And the names of things on Facebook, their page is called LOTRO. On Twitter, it's called LOTRO. And on Threads, at the Lord of the Rings Online. And that's what's coming up this week. So let's go into store sales. Sans, what's on sale this week?
Well, this week, you can store, carry, and share with 25% off inventory slots, if you can still buy some more. Vault storage and shared storage, if you can still buy more. And that's good through August 3rd. Also, there's a weekly coupon for free Max Morale and Power Scroll with the coupon code MMP Scroll, which is also good through August 3rd.
All right. Then that means it's time for our weekend gaming. And Krister, what were you up to?
Well, last night we managed to scrabble together 6 valiant heroes and delve into the halls of vermin, and then did a tier 7 delving. And much to our relief, it went smoothly last night. The week before, we didn't have enough people to run anything, so we just kind of chatted for a bit. But the week before that, we embarrassed ourselves by thinking our typical ploy thing, where we talk about how we always complete tier 1, no problem, and then running into the problems that we had where we couldn't beat the final boss. Last night we were utterly successful on all fronts. So we managed to do the delving successfully. We managed to do the run the vermin all the way through, and that was nice because one of the people hadn't completed it, so we at least had that satisfaction. And people were both looking forward to and grumbling about the upcoming changes as well. So I think the main thing is the frustrations around the stat crunch. But my feelings are, okay, you guys are just taking all these things away from us again. If you guys do that, could you change all percentage-based damage to actually hard numbers, because I find it ridiculous that the more powerful and tough you are, the more damage you take. I do not recall that reflected in anything I've ever watched in the movies or read in the books. But I'm not bitter. That's what I just want to point out. I'm not bitter about that. So, so we had a successful Friday night. Had a good time. Had one of our members who'd been gone for a while return, so that was really nice as well. And then this last week, really been playing. Diablo had released their season, so I've been playing the seasonal events. And then I've been talking to some of my old school gaming friends about Baldur's Gate 3 and Starfield coming up, and pretty excited to see what's coming out here soon. So that was my week spent in gaming and contemplation. And Sans, what did you get up to?
Well, I managed to join the field trip this week because I remembered at kind of the right time and then patched LOTRO in time. And so we did some further questing in Mordor before heading to meet an important party of elves in Mirkwood. At which point I discovered that I did not have any Mirkwood swift travel unlocked. Oops. So, war steeding through Mirkwood was a great way to end the evening. And it did not go poorly, so it was very nice. It was a very pleasant ride through the woods. And I acquired my first motorized vehicles in Dinkum this week.
Ooh.
And, yeah, I had fun zooming around the island in both on water and on land. So, that was fun. Well, except when the boat ends up on the land and then it doesn't go very fast. But I've gotten better at steering. So, yeah, that was fun. And I discovered a route to the taiga on our Minecraft world and set up some markers along it. So we should be able to get some more variety in our settlement soon of trees and probably some berry bushes and stuff. So, yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much my week. How was your week, Pineleaf?
I'll begin with my Runekeeper, who continued questing in King's Gondor. My Lore Master found the Heart of Fire and reached the 21st Hall. And in DDO, my Storm Singer finally finished questing in Barovia. And that was my week in gaming. We currently have 13 supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to join this illustrious rate of players and help support LOTRO players, you go to the donations page to support the Players Alliance on Patreon. Your money may be used for our podcast hosting, website hosting, and to pay for our live shows. If you'd like to contact us, you could contact us at podcast@LOTROplayers.com. The Players Alliance has 2 shows on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. US Eastern Time. We have LOTRO Players News and DDO Players News records when Drac is available. You can join us for our shows at LOTROplayers.com/live. And that is all for tonight then. This is Pilot Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.